Okay, this is Man Who Loves Women in Sports. $7 million on the line for Holly Holm in UFC 200. Yeah, that's the announcement. This is coming from Joe Rogan. I haven't heard Dana White confirm this, but that's what it looks like. $7 million for Holly Holm. I guess that explains why she didn't seem too upset not to fight Miesha Tate in the spring before UFC 200, which is set for July 9th in Las Vegas. I was disappointed that, as many fans were, that Holly Holm would not defend her title sooner and that you would have to wait for Ronda Rousey to get her act together. It always seemed to me that the UFC really didn't want Holly as champion. I really didn't think that Dana White was too big on Holly having the belt. And the whole thing makes Holly still seem like the challenger. The whole fact that she has to wait for Ronda to come back rather than to quickly fight somebody else, like a Miesha Tate or maybe even a Kat Zingano or Jessica Ai at least. But I can understand it from a business perspective. Dana White wants to protect his brand and get the most money as possible. They've just built a new, arena in Las Vegas, and he wants to christen it with this fight, UFC 200. It's 204 or 5 days away. Believe me, I counted. Long time. I know time goes quickly, but still, it's probably the longest that any champion has waited to defend his or her title in the UFC. I don't know what kind of effect that will have on Holly to have all that extra time. If anything, it'll hurt Ronda Rousey because she was just quoted as saying that it'll take 3 to 6 months for her mouth to heal, and then within the next month or so, she's already going to fight Holly Holm. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, especially considering the fact that Ronda has to catch up to Holly's striking and her footwork. She can't possibly do that in the midst of making a movie and healing from injuries and then training. I know a lot of money is on the table, but her health has to come first. Maybe there's something that we don't know. Maybe it's closer to 2 months than 6 months that she will heal. But still, she is filming a movie while Holly Holm is training. So to me, from the looks of it, and odd makers, from what I understand, have already made Holly Holm 3-2 underdog, which is even more a slap in the face, because as it stands now, I truly believe that Holly Holm will take care of business again and probably do it even quicker than she did it the last time. She'll train harder. She's the kind of fighter who is very competitive without saying a lot. She pushes herself, this woman who runs miles, laps, does aerobics, trains to get out of clinches, boxes. She's the best striker because she's been boxing for years, ever since she was 16. So she has a heads up on practically everybody in at least the bantamweight division of the UFC. She can very well retire undefeated. But that's getting away from the subject. $7 million, a lot of money. Of course, she won't get all of that $7 million. She has to pay her team, which well deserved. Her team is fantastic. Winkle John out there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She has to pay her agent, manager, lawyer, whoever else, publicist, whoever else. And she'll probably come away with maybe half that after taxes, maybe 3.5 mil, maybe even less than that, depending on what tax bracket she's in. But It's a long wait, man. I feel bad for Misha Tate because I believe that Misha Tate deserves a shot in between. She may very well get a shot sooner or later next year after UFC 200. Maybe not. Depends on what Cyborg does. Maybe Cyborg will be next after Rousey gets beaten by Holm, which I very well think will happen. So we'll just have to see what takes place. Anything can happen between now and July. There could be an injury, God forbid, to either one of them. Maybe Rousey bows out, tells Dana she needs more time. Who knows? Maybe she retires. Anything can happen between now and July 9th. So we'll just have to wait and see. As Holly Holm said herself during the UFC 194 talk or interview that was conducted, she said nothing is set in stone. And I could not agree more with all of that time. July 9th, 2016, UFC 200.